You hungry? Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
This has like a mom's basement kind of feel.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
Still some stuff in the basement.
What basement?
Mom's Basement with Joe Frank. That is quite possibly the dumbest thing I think you've ever said. And Corey Diab.
I can't believe I take part in this show.
Mom's Basement back at it again here on YouTube and iTunes. As always, I'm your host, Joe. With me is Corey, back again for another week. Got a lot to get to this week, but just a couple things before we jump into the car. We got the NFL Combine, a couple impressions from what we saw at the Combine. What are the Bears going to do in the draft? We got some NBA talk and a little bit of baseball with spring training in full effect as we head into March here. But before we get into any of that, first thing, make sure you guys are checking out Crossover Report at Crossover Report on all their social medias and crossoverreport.com. Those guys are killing it. Make sure you follow the Mom's Basement Twitter page at Mom's Basement 18 on Twitter. Please give the page a follow so we can get it up to where we are at, because we're getting more downloads than we are to, Twitter followers essentially. So I want to get the followers to match the downloads per se.
Basically, follow us.
Yeah, so just go follow us. Follow me on Twitter at Joe_Frank01. Corey is at Corey L Diablo.
Sick.
Such a good ad. Your last name flows perfectly into that. I didn't notice that when I first met you, with Twitter and all that stuff. I didn't notice that Diablo was a play on words with your last name, but it also works. I don't know, just crazy. I'm sorry.
It was my nickname in high school.
Oh, that makes sense. I was gonna say,
it's the best thing I ever contributed.
Providence
to the football
Catholic
team.
High School.
It's the best thing I ever contributed to the football team. So
Diablo.
Anywho.
Second thing I want to talk about first. I am officially a member of the Spanish Cubs. That's why I'm wearing the jersey today. The Venezuelan arm sleeve is here in full effect. As Frederick would say, Director of Morale for these Spanish Cubs.
I'm on my phone.
Get your goddamn Venezuelan arm sleeves on. The season's coming up. Go slide into me and Khalifa's DMs. It's so good to be a Cub fan. They're winning another championship this year. They're going to complete this dynasty. At least 2 more titles coming.
What's up, Caitlin?
Spanish Cubs for life. Never forget that. Viva Venezuela. Now we can get into the show.
Okay, good. I was just checking my Snapchat. All right.
You didn't expose me at least. I'm glad.
No, I'm just waiting.
Because of what we talked about before the show.
We talked about a lot of things before.
Well, when you first got here and you first saw the sleeve, and you said I couldn't.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't know what Viva means. He doesn't know what Viva means, and he called Spanish a country.
I do now, though. Listen, we've gone over how bad I am with geography as it is.
Geography, language, math. What are you good at?
I don't know how I made it as far as I did through college. Let's be honest.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right. Anyways, let's jump into the NFL. The Combine's here. This is Corey's favorite time of the NFL season because, well, frankly, Corey should be in the NFL, so he wants to go to the Combine.
That's none of that.
Listen, if you weren't a nurse and you weren't a poet, as we've gone over, you'd be an NFL defensive lineman.
Oh, that's...
I believe it.
Last time I checked, I wasn't born 6'3".
Your middle name is Aaron Donald.
Oh, I love Aaron Donald. Okay, but yes, it is Combine time, and Saquon Barkley's a fucking monster.
It's like that time of the year, though. We don't have baseball yet. Real baseball, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
right.
don't have football. We got the Combine, but it's that lull because March Madness hasn't started yet.
Mm-hmm. So
now everything in the sports calendar is going to start picking up here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fucking amazing.
Because we're just watching the Bulls tank right now.
Yeah, and
but doing awfully at it.
We're going to get into that a little bit later. But yeah, impressions from the NFL Combine. The number one thing you take away from today, which was Friday at the Combine, Saquon Barkley
Fucking monster.
is the best player in the draft. He should go number 1 to Cleveland. You should take Saquon Barkley.
If they were smart, they would take him number 1 and then draft a quarterback at 4.
You have 2 top 5 picks. You can take a quarterback at 4 with no problem.
Absolutely.
Because there's going to be a quarterback available.
Oh, yeah.
He repped the 225 more than Luke Kuechly did. He had a higher vertical than Odell Beckham Jr. He ran a faster 40 than Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, that's the best top 3 running back, top 3 receiver, and a top 3 linebacker. He just outperformed them all.
And not just that, too. When you look at the stuff at the Combine, all the numbers these guys put up, you got to make sure the tape matches, and with Saquon Barkley, the tape obviously matches.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. And I watched a lot of Penn State this year just because he was literally 200 yards from scrimmage, 250 yards from scrimmage, and not only on offense, but he's doing it receiving, rushing, and then special teams. He was dynamic returning kicks and punts for Penn State. So if the Bears were at 8 and Saquon Barkley was there, I would also take Saquon Barkley, even though they have
Thank God that's probably not going to be
Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. I would take Saquon Barkley and just get rid of Jordan Howard, honestly.
I'm thankful that's not going to be the case. But if Cleveland does take Saquon Barkley and say like Baker Mayfield, that's an interesting offense with Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Gordon.
And let's talk about some quarterbacks here. We'll start with Baker Mayfield, as you just let off with. But he was asked about his height because there's a couple things quarterbacks get scrutinized about. One, hand size. Hand size is super important. Two, their height, which I don't think is relevant at all. Unless you're like 5'5". That's obviously a problem. But Mayfield, he was asked about his height. He said, go ahead. I got 3 years of tape to watch. Love that answer. Go watch my 3 years of tape from Oklahoma. Go watch me ball out regardless of how tall I am. Drew Brees does it. Tyrod Taylor does it. Russell Wilson does it. Those are 3 damn good NFL quarterbacks.
It matters if you're not very mobile as a quarterback. I think like if you have like Peyton Manning level mobility, because you need to be able to see above your offensive lineman. That's what they always say. But if you can move yourself out of the pocket pretty well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and Baker Mayfield can flat out do it all. He's my favorite quarterback in the draft. Like I love his charisma. He can move. He's a patient passer. Really great in the pocket. He's the best college quarterback that's coming out, passing down the middle of the field. Between the dashes and the sides of the field. I mean, it's absolutely insane what he can do, and I don't think any quarterback in this draft can match up to that, which is why if I'm a team in the top 5, he'd be the guy that I take the chance on.
Absolutely.
And he's going to go in the top 5 in this draft.
Oh, yeah, I think he's probably... I think it's a really good top 4 in terms of the quarterback class. All these guys, I wouldn't be surprised if all 4 of them became franchise quarterbacks. Usually when you draft quarterbacks, it's going to be at like 50-50, so you'll see probably 2 of them bust out, but... Baker Mayfield, he's got all the tools, he's got all the numbers, he's just, a little on the short side.
And just an interesting question, just, off the top of your head here, if this quarterback class is sitting last year and the Bears are picking number 3, would you still take Mitchell Trubisky over any guy in this class?
It's a really good question. I wasn't even prepared for that question.
I know, I'm just throwing it at you.
Jeez. Wow, that's out of nowhere. Probably... I'm trying to think where he would fit.
Amongst the class?
Yeah, I saw Matt Miller tweet out a while ago, in his opinion for Bleacher Report, that Mitchell Trubisky would be the number 1 quarterback in this class. I'd probably say he'd be number 1 or number 2. I do like Baker Mayfield a lot. I like the top 4 guys pretty well. But, it's different once you've seen a guy finally play in the NFL and look pretty good.
Right.
But, yeah, I'd still probably have him 1 or 2.
For me, it would be, the Bears said 3, let's say they don't trade up. Let's say they don't trade to number 2. Solomon Thomas goes number 2 to San Fran. And Baker Mayfield and Mitchell Trubisky are both on the board. I would have a pretty hard time making a decision there. I think I would lean Trubisky, but I would have a very damn difficult time.
Yeah, no question about it.
Which is it's a good problem to have, really. Hopefully both turn into franchise quarterbacks.
Hopefully. But you see in every draft class, if you see a quarterback who hits, you see a quarterback who misses. For every Cam Newton, there's a Blaine Gabbert. So you really got it. It's really like a 50-50 shot. So we're just gonna accept that 2 of these guys are gonna bust.
You got to give it to the quarterbacks, like you were just saying. For every Cam Newton, there's a Blaine Gabbert. To guys that can be a top 10 pick and expected to excel at the quarterback position and be a franchise guy and all that, to bust out and then be able to reinvent themselves to stay in the league and whatever it is as a backup and whatnot. Like Mark Sanchez was a 3rd-string quarterback last year, but just to collect a paycheck. Solid.
Well, quarterbacks are always going to find a job. Fucking Brett Favre at the age of 73 or whatever he is now could probably find a job in the NFL.
When Brett Favre went to Minnesota, later in his career, and he was hurt all the time. It wasn't the first year. How long was he in Minnesota?
He Packers for his entire career, Jets for 1 year, and then Minnesota for 2.
Yeah, I think it was the second year. It was like a Monday night against the Bears where the field was frozen.
Corey Wooten ended his career.
Yeah, that clip I can still play in my head.
Corey Wooten just slammed him down.
Yeah, that was wild. I don't know why I just thought of that, but I could still play that clip in my head.
But the year before that too, he was basically the MVP of the NFL that year at the age of 39.
Yeah,
it was
which
crazy.
Is crazy. Moving from one Heisman Trophy winner to another, Corey, I know you have some strong thoughts on Lamar Jackson. I saw you tweeting about him.
Oh yeah, I was blowing up the M.O.M.S basement account, tweeting about Lamar Jackson a little bit. Crossover Report acknowledged it. I see you guys. I told him it was like a black and white thing, but it clearly is a black and white thing. I don't want to get too much into it, but I don't understand what NFL scouts, quote unquote scouts, see with black quarterbacks who are coming into the NFL. You know, they think, oh my God, they're mobile out of the pocket. They instantly must be a wide receiver. Lamar Jackson's a damn good quarterback. He's got really good arm strength. He's got some middle of the field accuracy issues. You know, fucking Mel Kiper tweets out, oh, I think stats are for fucking nerds, and Josh Allen is the best quarterback in this class. And then a month later says, I don't like Lamar Jackson because his completion percentage was 57%. The irony there.
Exposed.
I don't give a shit. Fuck Mel Kiper. But honestly, Lamar Jackson, he has no questions about his size anymore. People were thinking he's undersized just because he's so fast. I think he was listed as like 6'2.5" and 210 or 215, that's perfectly fine for an NFL quarterback. He's going to be fine. He's taller than Baker Mayfield, for God's sake. Okay, I think Lamar Jackson is going to be a really good quarterback. I do think he has issues that need to be worked on, but he's got really good deep ball placement, just great arm strength, and obviously he's ridiculously mobile. And some teams are going to make him their franchise quarterback.
I love Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah,
I think he's a good prospect, but it worries me that sometimes it just looks like his accuracy switch gets turned off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he has the accuracy issues that we see with, Josh Allen.
Hashtag draft JoshAllen.com.
That's an awful website.
It's so hilarious.
That website was made in like 2005.
Well, Big Cat and PMT and the guys at Barstool, great job with the website.
Yeah, but Lamar Jackson has already shown that he can, run the mental side of the game. He made the calls on his college system at Louisville. He's great athlete, good pocket presence, just the accuracy. And I think you can work on the accuracy, whether it's changing up, arm angle, foot placement, more anticipation, better knowledge of the playbook. You can gain this knowledge, and you can get more accurate. And I think that he's firmly a top 4 quarterback in this class, and he should be a top 10 pick.
Well, if it's me and I'm drafting a team, I would pick Mayfield or Jackson over Rosen, Darnold, or Josh Allen.
Oh, Josh Allen is like not even in my top 4. Josh Allen is just...
But Corey, he can throw a football 90 yards.
So could Jamarcus Russell.
But he can throw a football 90 yards. It means everything if you can throw a football the length of the field.
Josh Allen is Jamarcus Russell, except white without the codeine problem. I mean, come on now.
You heard it here first. Josh Allen may have a codeine problem.
Well, that's not what I was getting at. But no, I mean, I feel like Darnold and Rosen are going to be. I think we've just heard from them.
Yeah, they don't excite me.
They're like the common name that we've heard like as the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft, and both probably both have a good chance to be franchise quarterbacks. Obviously not all 4 of these guys will be, but. I don't think you can go wrong with any of these guys in the top 4.
So let us know on Twitter at MomsBasement18. Who is your best quarterback available in the 2018 NFL Draft? Who do you like?
We're making a poll. Are we going to make a poll?
I'm not going to do a poll because they only last 24 hours.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm just going to say, let us know what you guys think. Who's your favorite quarterback? Who don't you like? Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. We'll respond back to you. I promise. Well, I will. Can't speak for Corey on Twitter. Will you respond, Corey?
Sure, why not?
All right, so hit us up on Twitter at MomsBasement18. Let us know those quarterback thoughts. We're going to talk a lot more about the quarterbacks in the draft as it moves closer, but the Combine, obviously, big deal. Baker Mayfield addressed the media, Saquon Barkley going off. It was a fun day for football fans.
Yeah, nothing like watching a bunch of guys in their underwear.
God, I love it. At least no one had an underwear malfunction.
Oh God,
was that last year?
Yeah.
The offensive line.
Where his stuff ripped, and you just saw it. And you were just like, all right.
He immediately went down and just started grabbing it. Like, no.
That was the moment when I questioned, like, why am I watching this? Like, I just saw a dude schlong.
Or why can't they just wear basketball shorts? Like, is how tight your shorts are really going to make a difference? Like, will I run faster in a Speedo than I will in basketball shorts?
I mean, we could video it and
we could test it.
We could put it on the Mom's Basement Instagram.
We can, yeah. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference, but and then we could send it to the NFL. Be like, listen.
We'd probably mix up the followers a little bit. We'd gain some, but then we'd lose some.
We could pitch it to the NFL as, listen, we're your new research and development team.
Okay.
Put us in charge of this kind of stuff because this is the kind of content you're going to get. Just push that video on them. And they'll probably block us.
Yeah, we will not even get to a second interview.
All right, moving from the Combine to the Chicago Bears.
Bears.
A few things we want to do with the Bears. Let's start off with the hot topic. Jarvis Landry has been given permission to seek a trade. Bears, one of those teams interested. Corey, will the Bears trade for Jarvis Landry?
No, absolutely not. I don't think so. I mean, I'm trying to see a scenario where it works, and Ryan Pace doesn't really have the draft picks to give up in this year's draft. He has 7 right now. He's missing his 3rd rounder. You got guys like who's going to be free agent? Sammy Watkins, who's going to end up being a free agent. And actually, of note with Jarvis Landry too, they made. I know we're going to talk about it anyway, but they made the trade with the Rams for Robert Quinn, and they took on all of Robert Quinn's money. So the speculation right now is that if they can't work out a trade for Jarvis Landry, they may rescind that franchise tag and let him hit free agency. So I don't think the Bears have any sort of urgency to, to rush with this. I mean, Jarvis Landry is a good receiver, but you got guys like Albert Wilson, who is a better receiver, per reception compared to Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, frankly, I think it would be colossally stupid for anybody to trade for Jarvis Landry. For that reason, you said, what franchise tag is rescinded? He's going to hit the market. And the more I look at Jarvis Landry, you fall into this trap a lot where you remember what you last saw. And what I've seen from Jarvis Landry is basically just highlights. I don't watch Miami Dolphins game. I watched a couple this year because, Jay Cutler's my quarterback. Sup, Jay? But I don't watch religiously Miami Dolphins football. I mean, I don't think anybody in Chicago or the suburbs does. So
I don't even know if people in Miami watch Miami.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in Miami. They sure don't watch the baseball there, because that team's like $500 million in debt.
Yikes.
But anyway, yeah. So I was kind of just researching deeper into his numbers, and Albert Wilson, who's probably going to the Bears in free agency from Kansas City. Corey, what was that quote from?
Let me grab it real quick.
Yeah, the Kansas City GM, but. Albert Wilson's a better football player, I think, than Jarvis Landry, and he's going to get more volume in Chicago.
Yeah, so Patrick Finley, who I believe is a writer for the Sun Times, I thought so. He asked the Kansas City Chiefs GM Brett Veach. He said, "Will Albert Wilson leave the Chiefs?" And his only response was, "Well, Matt's in Chicago," referencing Bears head coach Matt Nagy. So basically, in the top comment is, this is like reverse tampering. So basically,
that's a gold comment.
So basically, Albert Wilson's going to be a Bear, and once you go forward from there, I mean, it's a solid addition, but that decreases the need even more for a guy like Jarvis Landry, who is probably less efficient. He's more of a volume guy than he's a value guy.
Yeah, a guy I would like to have on the Bears for a price that isn't what he's going to want, essentially. He's going to want more money than you're willing to pay him.
I'm not paying him $14 million a year.
Ooh, yeah,
absolutely not.
I would take him at half that.
Probably, yeah.
Half that.
I might take him, at most, I would probably give him like 10, but that's just because you have to overpay in free agency. But his value is not $14 million a year.
You'd be building a core there with Wilson, Landry, hopefully
another receiver in the draft,
and then Cam Meredith can get back healthy.
Yeah.
You'd give Mitch Trubisky some weapons to use along with Shaheen at tight end and Cohen at running back because Jordan Howard can't catch. So
nope.
Another reason the Bears, if Saquon Barkley somehow fell to 8, should take him and get rid of Jordan Howard.
Yikes!
Because Barkley can catch. Jordan Howard has bricks for hands.
Okay, but Jordan Howard's a damn good.
He's a good running back, but I mean, what happened to your hands? Honestly.
I don't know.
It just reminds me of the Little Giants, is it? Or what was it? Yeah, Little Giants. No, it's Longest Yard. Brucey.
Actually, pop from the place.
That's what it reminds me of. So, anyways, another thing with the Bears here. Kyle Fuller, we've talked about him in the past weeks. Free agent, just had the year of his career. Has interest in staying in Chicago. Huge for the Bears. They need Kyle Fuller back. Frankly, I don't care what you get to pay him. You get him back.
Yeah, there's mutual interest back and forth, and between both of them, and the hope is that they work out a long-term deal. There's been more progress towards a long-term deal as opposed to the franchise tag, which is probably better for everybody involved. Kyle Fuller gets security, gets to be here longer, gets more money, and the Bears probably take less of a cap hit than putting him on the franchise tag. So, if they can work out a long-term deal by the time the new year starts, that's going to be great for Chicago, great for the Bears.
Franchise tags are dangerous. I don't understand how the Redskins were comfortable franchise tagging Cousins the last 2 years. That is so much money. Quarterback obviously is going to be the highest because they're paid the highest amount of money, but whew, it's just uncomfortable.
And like my experience with the franchise tag growing up was the Bears would always franchise tag Lance Briggs. They did that for like 3 straight years, and he was getting like more and more pissed off with the franchise tag because they weren't giving him a long-term deal. They weren't meeting his money, and then they finally agreed and gave him a long-term deal after like 2 or 3 years. But I was like, holy fuck! I thought Lance Briggs was going to leave the fucking Bears, and Lance Briggs was a fucking great linebacker for the Bears. But you know, I don't see why people like the franchise tag. I mean, obviously the teams prefer the control, but it pisses off the players, man. And I mean, sure, the teams have the control, but you know, it's just the players are trying to, you know, stay healthy and keep playing at a high level so they get that 1-year deal, and they're not happy about it. So,
staying with the Bears, let's talk a little bit about the best case and worst case scenario for the Bears in the upcoming draft. So they're at pick 8 currently. Been a lot of speculation about, are they going to take Ridley at 8? Are they going to trade the pick? What's your best case for the Bears going into the draft?
Quentin Nelson falling to number 8 would be my best case scenario. I mean, the guy is an instant day 1 starter, an instant day 1 Pro Bowler. I mean, he's a vicious offensive lineman, and paired with Kyle Long, they're easily the best guard tandem in football at that point. I mean, they say that there's no such thing as like a first-year All-Pro player coming out of a draft, but you know, there are scouts who have said they would be shocked if Quentin Nelson wasn't an All-Pro. And then probably my worst-case scenario would be if they stayed at 8 and drafted. Whoa.
It's that same commercial.
Whoa.
The stupid Reese's commercial.
We're not getting the Marvin Gaye up in here. No, thank you. But staying at 8 and drafting Calvin Ridley would probably be the worst case scenario. I don't think that is like an awful thing, but I don't think it's the best thing in the world. I mean, he's a 24-year-old, doesn't have these dynamic, doesn't have the dynamic speed that you would expect from like a true number 1 receiver. He would be, a solid receiver to add to the core. Maybe he does put up, 1,000-yard receiving seasons, but a 1,000-yard receiving season in this day in the NFL doesn't define a number 1 receiver. You need to be able to dominate the game, and he's actually at the combine he was listed as shorter than he was on Alabama's roster website.
What a shock!
Yeah, I know, he was like 6 foot and a half, which that makes me just instantly like, I like my receivers, my number 1 wide receivers to be fucking huge, like Brandon Marshall or Alshon Jeffrey.
I was gonna say, sup, Alshon? How's
yeah,
feeling?
I know, I miss Alshon, but he's probably the best receiver in the draft, but he doesn't deserve to be pick number 8 overall. So if you trade down, that's something that you could consider doing, but not at 8.
Yeah, the best case for me would be trading back into the first round and getting maybe another one, a future 1, and maybe your 3rd round pick back this year, like a 3rd round pick back, or acquiring an extra 2nd round pick, something. You have to move back, in my opinion.
Yeah, for a team that wants somebody like Lamar Jackson or whatever.
Absolutely.
Josh Allen even.
We saw it last year with quarterbacks. I mean, Chiefs traded way up to 10 to get Mahomes because they wanted Trubisky. They were going to try to trade up. Shit, the Bears traded up before us, even though it was only 1 pick. Mm-hmm. They might have taken him with 3 anyways. We don't know. I mean, I'm sure they would have, but shit, people are moving up to get their quarterbacks. We got to go. We got to move to 10. I mean, teams are going to trade up if their quarterback is there. I think the Bears are in a perfect spot to kind of quote-unquote, or not quote-unquote, but like take advantage, of somebody who wants a quarterback, especially a guy like Lamar Jackson, who's so intriguing.
Yeah, that, but you also have the guys who because that there's, every year in the draft, I've noticed there's like one really bad trade up for a quarterback or trade up for a player who should not be taken that high. And it's going to be, Josh Allen's going to be that guy. Someone's going to be taking Josh Allen. And I feel like I could just envision a scenario on draft night where some team just moves up, 15 spots on the draft board because they're like, yeah, Josh Allen could be our guy for some fucking
because
reason.
They're surfing the web and they're coming across draftjoshallen.com.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, he's 6'7", and
Look at this photoshopped rocket on his arm.
Yeah, he's got the rocket arm, but I think that would be a really good scenario because the Bears probably pick up the whatever team's 1st round pick is from that year, the 1st round pick next year, get their third round pick back and maybe more.
Yeah, and I think the worst case for me would be what Corey said, staying at 8 and taking Ridley. I just feel like they're in such a good position this year to kind of move back and get extra picks because it's going to be important to get keep getting solid draft classes in because Ryan Pace has had some shaky first rounders, aka Kevin White.
Yeah.
So you need to get as many picks as you can as you continue to get better as a team, and I think this is a huge year for them in the draft.
Like it wouldn't be great to have to take Ridley at 8, but at the same time, just objectively having Ridley is good because you have weapons for Mitchell Trubisky, and that's how you have to grow this young offense. You have to grow with Matt Nagy, and objectively, Ridley would be a good player in the offense, but not at 8.
From a team on the rise in the Bears to a Chicago franchise going way, way down, the Bulls sitting at 21-41. The full tank is on.
But they can't even tank properly.
They had a huge tank game tonight against the Mavericks. They won the game, so it's really a loss in the hearts of the real Bulls fans.
They went on a 30-15 run in the fourth quarter. Like, why?
Bobby Portis should not play minutes. The guy just wants to win. I don't get it. He was leading the charge tonight for the Bulls to come back and win. It's their first win since the All-Star break. They were doing so good. And they had to go and screw it up, beating the Mavericks. Excuse me.
It is a loss. I don't care. It's a fucking...
It is a loss, 100%.
It's
a loss because it makes me sad.
It does. It makes me very sad.
Another thing that makes me sad, Anthony Davis is single-handedly destroying the Bulls' chances at a second lottery pick because of the trade they made with Mirotić going to New Orleans. Well, Anthony Davis just strapped on a JanSport, got the little clip, tightened it, and he's put the whole city of New Orleans and their basketball team on his skinny, skinny back. And they've won 7 games in a row, and he's a man amongst boys in the NBA court. Now, granted, we know Anthony Davis, when healthy,
Jesus Christ. I'm looking at his numbers.
Read them off here in a second. Is the second best player in the NBA. I don't care about Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, anybody. He's the second best player in the NBA when he is healthy behind the king. Because he can goddamn do it all. Corey, read off some of those stat lines for me.
Oh, my God. He's averaging 28.1 points a game on 53, almost 54% field goal shooting with 11.1 rebounds a game. And he's even shooting the 3-ball. I mean, Jesus Christ.
He has added the 3-ball to his game. So did DeMarcus Cousins, by the way, when he came to New Orleans. He shoots 3 at a high clip. Obviously, he tore his Achilles. But Anthony Davis, please stop. I mean... You're from Chicago. You gotta show some love for the city here and keep on losing. What?
No, I'm just amazed. I'm blown away with how good he is. That's all.
It's insane, yeah. and that's why he signed the extension in New Orleans.
That's what I was thinking about. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
I was surprised.
That's why I was so shocked. I was like, that's why I'm like sitting back. I'm just like, oh wait, he's not gonna be a free agent anytime soon.
I thought he was a lock to come to the Bulls in free agency. A lock. I was like, he's gonna want to come home. He was drafted number 1. New Orleans is what he thought it was. He's not having fun. He's not winning. Boom. 5-year max deal.
I mean, if he thinks the 7th seed is winning, I mean, that's good for him.
I do not understand. You could have gotten money anywhere, so it's not money. I do not understand why he signed the extension in New Orleans. Anthony Davis, listen. I see you again roaming around Kenwood Liquors. We're gonna have a talk about this little 7-game win streak.
Oh wait, he did go to Kenwood, and then
he's been to Kenwood.
And then he went to that PetSmart too.
Yeah, Matt took care of his dog.
What the fuck?
I still have that picture of Matt Cole and Anthony Davis on my phone.
And I'm pretty sure you asked him, "Do you know who Anthony Davis is?"
Yeah, he's kinda. Oh,
only a top 5 player in the game.
Only a god on the NBA court. All right. Anyways, are you excited for the NBA playoffs?
Not really.
I'm waiting for the playoffs because I want to see the Rockets beat the Warriors.
Okay, but you want to see the Rockets beat the Warriors. That's not until the conference finals.
I know.
Like, are you?
But like,
really
there are some intriguing matchups. Like right now, Cleveland will be playing Philly.
That's intriguing, but I still don't expect Philly to beat Cleveland.
No one's beating LeBron in the playoffs. I mean, he's winning the title this year.
Okay, don't say nobody beats LeBron in the playoffs.
Nobody is beating LeBron in the playoffs this year, is what I said.
Okay.
Nobody is beating LeBron in the future.
We'll see.
I'm just waiting for the playoffs. I mean, the season's done. The Bulls are in full tank mode, obviously 20 games under. They need to keep losing these big games like this, and we're saying a big game against the Mavericks. Their owner got fined $600,000 for saying that they're tanking and having a dinner with his players saying, listen, losing, our best move right now.
No, I mean, the only basketball I watch NBA-wise during the year is the NBA Finals and the Conference Finals, because usually you have, it's going to be the Warriors in the West taking on, whomever. It could be, it could be Russell Westbrook at some point. It could be, the Spurs, who can usually give the Warriors a good series. And then you got LeBron versus whoever in the East, and LeBron usually just takes over and, fucking wins. But I mean, basketball's not intriguing, but the finals are always fun just because there's so much star power.
Really quickly here, moving to Major League Baseball, spring training in full effect, as we mentioned at the top of the show. Just a couple things here with the Cubs. One, they're 5-1, dominating the Cactus League. Ian Happ has 3 homers and 10
Dominating the Cactus League.
Domination, baby. Spanish Cub for life. The Venezuelan arm sleeve is on.
Ian Happ is not a Spanish Cub.
Well, no, but the Spanish Cubs are.
And you're whiter than Ian Happ.
Nope, you don't know where I'm from.
We're literally in your house.
We did. My dad did Ancestry.com, so we'll really see where we're from. He sent the DNA in like last week, so you'll be able to expose me if it comes back not Spanish.
Just Big J sending out samples of the DNA, huh?
Yeah, he was real stumped on how to work it too. He's quite happy.
Wait,
Quite entertaining.
I don't know what he's working, but for DNA
Well, they send you
samples,
this thing, you got to put DNA in it, and then like seal it a certain
what kind
way.
of DNA?
Just saliva.
Okay.
Easy there, buddy.
Well, that's why you said it. I don't know. He doesn't know how to work it. I was
Easy
like,
there,
whoa.
buddy.
Okay.
All right, they're dominating the Cactus League. They're getting in mid-season form to dominate the NL Central, which is full of a bunch of second-class organizations like the Brewers, who can't sell tickets. They can't fill their stadium. St. Louis is racist. The whole city sucks.
Who hurt you?
Nobody. I'm hyped right now. I'm happy. I mean, I'm not hurt.
Okay. Keep going.
All right. The Cubs, they sit there as a first-class organization and a second-class organization, full division. They're ready to win it again. They're ready to go back to the CS. We're going to get into more of the whole baseball.
You do know you've won one title in the last 110 years, right?
Man, was it a good time, though.
I get that the Cubs are the best team in the Central. I get it.
Sick.
But saying you're like in a division of second-class organizations.
Because we are, Corey.
When the Cardinals...
What is Milwaukee? Second class.
I'm not even talking about Milwaukee. I'm talking about fucking St. Louis.
St. Louis, what are they?
Way more titles than you.
What are they?
A title-winning organization.
Put titles aside, what are they?
Who cares about anything but titles? Oh my god, I don't even care about the Spanish Cubs, but come on, titles.
The Spanish Cubs are a goddamn fucking legacy.
They're not even from Spain.
Listen, Spanish means more than Spain.
You thought Spanish was a country.
I did not. We'll get into a lot more of the baseball stuff. Next week we're going to start recording our prediction shows for all the divisions, the AL, the NL. That'll be 2 separate episodes. One will be NL, one will be AL, starting next weekend. And after that, we'll have a way too early MLB award show for you guys to get into. That'll be right around the time where the NFL league year starts, so we'll have some of that too. But right now, I just want to talk one thing on the Cubs here. 2 things, actually. They named their rotation, no surprises, whatever. Lester, Hendricks, Darvish, Q, Chatwood.
Kaplan was right about Q.
Q's a 4. That is insane. How many teams would he be a 2 on? Probably 20.
Probably.
In the league. He'd be an ace on a few. He'd be a 3 on a few. He's a 4 on the Cubs. How many other teams could you say he'd be a 4 on right now?
The 2020 Chicago White Sox.
That's not a team yet. Anything could happen.
The Houston Astros.
Let's see. Keuchel, Verlander. Yeah, okay. We can go 1. There we go. We got 1. All right, I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's about it.
I could actually put him as a 3 on that team in front of Garrett Cole, just based off Cole last year.
Yeah, Q's better than Cole.
Yeah, I agree. So Lester gets the opening day nod. No surprise here. He's the guy. He's the veteran, as you would say. But the professor, you know how I feel about Kyle Hendricks. Sile. Can't wait to call him Sile all year again. In front of Darvish. That actually surprised me a little bit. Maybe.
Why would you not split up the righties?
Normally, Joe Madden is like very anal.
But I mean, I guess you do split up the righties because you split up Darvish and Chatwood. But who gives a fuck about Chatwood?
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to see how Chatwood looks. Personally, I can't wait.
It doesn't matter how he looks. He's a 5th starter. He's not going to get playoff starts.
I get it. But I'm just curious because that could be one of the most underrated signings.
But I'm thinking like, what if you sign Darvish and then he's your 4th starter? Like he's just like your 4th starter in your rotation for that amount of money. I feel like people would be like
which is why I thought
uninformed baseball fans would be like, oh well, the Cubs just signed you Darvish and he's only the number 4, but look at how much money they gave him.
Well, I'm surprised he's not the 2. I mean, I love Kyle Hendricks. I was just a little bit.
Kyle Hendricks should be the 1. I mean, I've always thought, and I've told you this before, I think Jose Quintana is a better pitcher than John Lester.
John Lester is not the number 1 starter on the Cubs because
it's just because of like his merit, his name, just like how
John Lester,
just like how Mark Burley was for years, even though Chris Sale was part of the club too.
This is a goddamn great rotation.
Yeah,
that's what I want to say.
Oh yeah,
it's a goddamn great rotation.
Probably top 2, top 3 in baseball.
Yeah, 100%. And then one more thing, my pipe dream right now. I was just telling Corey about this before we started recording. I'm like, yo, Greg Holland is still a free agent. what do we got to do to get the Cubs to go sign him? Because technically they don't have a named closer, right? Everyone assumes they're going to go.
And
With
I think that's going to bite him. I really do.
Brandon Morrow, and Greg Holland's sitting there. It's already March 2nd, March 3rd, really.
You're not wearing a watch.
I always do that. It's like a habit of mine. Like, I always look down and I'm never wearing a watch. And the guy at work, Chris, he's just like, Joe, you're not wearing a fucking watch. Stop doing that. No, you just did that? Oh, it hurt me. Sorry for my weird habit. Anyway, go out and get Greg Holland, whatever it takes. If you got to beat up Jason Hayward and take half his salary and give it to Greg Holland this year, do it. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm cool. Give Greg Holland a long contract.
Not long. No, like 1 year. 2 years max.
Why would he take a 1-year deal after what he just did?
Why would he sit at home and do nothing?
Because he's gonna get paid.
Because he's got pride.
Okay, you gotta tone it down a little bit.
I'm toning down. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anywho, are you done with the Cubs?
Yeah, you can go ahead and get White Sox injuries and
it hurts.
what a bad spring it is. Fernando Tatis Jr., all that stuff.
Oh, fuck Fernando Tatis Jr. So yeah, Pipeline did their new prospect rankings today. White Sox are 3rd overall, even after graduating 3 top 100 prospects last year. Sick. And the Padres are 1, led by Fernando Tatis Jr. Not sick.
So sick.
Not sick.
So sick.
No. And just the White Sox are, fucking deep as shit. 2020 is the year. It's going to be fucking awesome. We're going to get Manny Machado. It's going to be great. Jake Berger, this past week, he hit a ground ball shortstop, was running it out, and he ended up rupturing an Achilles. He is going to be out for the 2018 season. You're a cock. And I don't think it really impacts him very much because his bat's his carrying tool, and it wasn't... I was talking to some guys in my White Sox chat. It's not the foot. It's not the foot that he like crushes the bug with. Whatever you do when you're supposed
your
to.
Your back foot, yeah.
Yeah, when you.
So that'd be his right foot.
Yeah. So, but he hurt his left foot. So it's not the end of the world with that. His bat's still going to be his carrying tool. He's probably going to end up a first baseman anyway, a first baseman DH. So he could still fly through the system with the bat, and I still think he'll be on the club in 2020 as opposed to 2019 where I had him before, but. You know what? It's a setback. He'll be fine. The White Sox have had just an assload of injuries amongst their prospects this year, this spring training. We talked about Mike Adolfo. He's going to end up being a DH for the first part of this year. I don't know if it's going to be that way the entire year, but he'll at least get to work with the bat. And then fucking even Eloy Jimenez has tendonitis in his knee. Like, this is irritating. Like, it's just fucking nagging and it's bothering me.
But he's the best.
He is the best, and he's going to be a fucking superstar.
All right, like we said, next week we're going to start recording those preview shows, AL, NL, and then a way too early MLB award show. So that is all to come in the very, very near future here. But that's all we got for you guys tonight on this episode of Mom's Basement. If you like the show, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and iTunes. Leave that 5-star review for us on iTunes. Make sure to follow this show on Twitter at MomsBasement18. Follow me on Twitter at Joe_Frank01. Corey on Twitter at CoreyLDiablo. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.